Well, joining us now, Kganki Matabane is the CEO of the Black Business Council. Kganki, good afternoon to you, and thank you very much indeed for your time. So SAP is paying a fine. It's a big fine. Do you believe it's just that they pay this money for what their people did during the state capture era?
Good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to the viewers. The challenge, Stephen, is that we have seen this movie before. We've seen companies coming to the fore and saying, I'm admitting to the guilt, whichever way they're putting it in a legal form. But ultimately they're saying, I'm admitting that I've committed crime, I've done this and this, things that are bad. And what the best thing I can do is to pay back the money or pay a portion of the money. But we have never seen the company itself or individuals who committed this being prosecuted. We've seen Deloitte and KPMGs of this world, Bain & Company. And then some of these are even found guilty overseas before they are found guilty in South Africa, like now with the SAP is found guilty in the US, Bain was found guilty in the UK. I think the biggest challenge we're having is that it looks like when you're a big company, you just pay whatever you've gained or a portion of whatever you've benefited, and everyone goes with their lives. But what precedent are we setting? Are we saying as long as you've got money, you can buy justice, or what are we saying? So the challenge for us is that we don't think there's justice in whatever is happening.
One of the interesting tests of this is the NPA explained to us this afternoon that this is a deferred prosecution agreement. So SAP has to work with the NPA for the next 3 years to help it prove the individuals that were responsible. And that would allow the NPA to bring charges against those individuals. So I suppose the question is, Kganki, do you have faith in that agreement? I mean, I think you're right. It's all about really whether the individuals responsible are held accountable.
Yes, what is important is the information that and the data that we have, so far the information that we have does not make us to be confident that a prosecution will happen, because since the Zondo Commission released their report, there are not many people who have been taken to task, but also there's no one who has been sent to jail or prosecuted successfully. So we are hopeful, but we are really not convinced that something is going to happen. The other issue is that these companies are busy as we speak, including Deloitte, KPMG, and others, Bain and Company. They're busy still doing business with government. National Treasury is supposed to blacklist these companies, but they have not done that. But if it was a small company, they would have been blacklisted a long time ago. The poor small company would have closed down shops a long time ago. So there's that inconsistency that creates an impression that there's no consistent treatment of sizes of companies. If you are big and you've got money, you are fine. If you don't have money, then you are doomed. The other challenge that and then this one we're calling for government to basically put all these monies that have been paid into a fund that will help whistleblowers. We've got a lot of whistleblowers who are now destitute. They've been almost blacklisted by companies and governments and employers, and they're not getting jobs. So their livelihood has been lost, but they've done a good job for the country. So it's important that the government put aside money to look after them, so that at least we can encourage more whistleblowers to come and expose corruption.
Kganki, you make an interesting point, an important point about accountability since the Zondo Commission. How important is it for business that the NPA actually succeeds in getting convictions for the individuals involved in state capture? As opposed to put it another way, how important is the rule of law for business in South Africa? I mean, it's vital, isn't it?
It's important that all the law enforcement agencies succeed, because that will also deter those who are thinking of committing similar things in the future. But when people see from evidence that is there that you commit this type of crime, nothing happens to you, you are basically indirectly encouraging more people to take chances. But if you prosecute people, people go to jail, companies close down, you'll basically be deterring and discouraging people from doing such things. So it's very, very important for us that all the law enforcement agencies in South Africa are successful.
We see our officials working with the Americans on this. And it's interesting because the Americans have a thing called the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. If you're a company that has an office in the United States and you're found to be involved in corruption in another country, they'll actually fine you. We've seen other cases like this before. It happened to Hitachi in the Eskom deal. How do you feel about the fact, Kganki? It's an interesting question because, I mean, it's quite arrogant of the Americans to say, if you commit a crime somewhere else, we will punish you. On the other hand, it may stop corruption. I mean, I think SAP should be punished for their corruption. And SAP has actually agreed to be punished for its corruption. How do you feel about the way that we've been working with the Americans on this?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. We need to learn from the Americans and learn from other countries, like, as I indicated, Spain, and also, for example, Germany with the Steinhoff. We need to learn from them and see how they do this in better, and take the best practice, bring it to South Africa, and so that we can make sure that people who are doing business, they're doing it following corporate governance principles. And it will also help us as we do business in other continents, especially even when we do business in our continent of Africa. We should make sure that at least companies, when they go there, they are not going to go there and bribe. Because once you start this bribing cycle, you are actually encouraging other people to bribe. We'll never be able to stop corruption if we don't stop at a certain stage. So it's good that the Americans are doing very, very well and other countries are also doing well. And let's learn from them so that we can at least implement what they're implementing and improve on corporate governance in South Africa.
Kganki Matabane, thank you. CEO of the Black Business Council, do appreciate the time.